Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
On our broad access to our money, we put in the bank.
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge.
Who can come and salvage us from where we are? Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which are you.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the taunting. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Dimension, as a faction of the party have conferred on the Minister of Federal Capital Territory, Wike, the political infantry of the state. The APC faction led by Tonio Kocha, former Chief of Staff to former Minister of Transportation, Chibika Amechi, said, "We pray, Mr. Chairman, to discountenance the machinations of the pretenders who via hues and cries and trumping up lies want to negate the natural law that aptly recommends that one reaps where the one sows. Those persons never supported the party, nor are they sincere in their hearts to be happy that President Tinubu made it to the presidency." Mr. Chairman, we summarize that the only group in APC Rivers State legitimate to seek compensation for the victory of APC Tinubu in Rivers State is the one here. Please contact us through the leader of the political infantry in Rivers State, who is serving the federal cabinet presently. Well, in response, Ganduje said, "There is no doubt Rivers State is a very important state in Nigeria, an oil state, and also a reasonable population, which is an asset for election and an asset to any political party. So you can see how we cannot rubbish the state, Rivers, that as states in politics, it is a very important state." But in summary, our party in Rivers State is that one is a fact. We have to thank and congratulate people who could not have become the president of this country. We have to congratulate people for that. But we are saying don't want men But what we seem not to understand is that recognizing Wike as a messiah who helped you to win election according to him is fair to a large extent. But like I said, what we don't understand is, as a national party chairman, if you say Rivers State economically is a very powerful state for you as a political party and for winning elections, what then is the reason why you have not stepped in to see that the quagmire is settled and then needful done in terms of bringing these people together? Do you have an idea why he's yet to do that?
Well, I don't know. I think I can, maybe do a kind of conjectural postulation.
Okay.
Because I'm not a member of APC. I just want to say something, that the APC problem has become a comic orchestra. When you have an orchestra that has some kind of comedy in it. Two is that it's also becoming the biblical, tales of Isaac and Ishmael. that even after the Bible, they are still quarreling today, the children of Isaac, children of Ishmael, Palestinians and the Israelites. And God in the Bible said that I think there will be no solution or whatever to that problem. So I hope APC is not, that kind of, contraption. The second one is that APC, for me, has now become dismembered and balkanized.
There's APC in River State?
APC River State.
Okay.
Dismembered. When you say dismembered, it's like a butcher who you see a whole goat, you see it's so fine, beautiful, made by God, but once it's roasted, the moment they begin to butcher it, you find very difficult to know the part of the body that is coming from. Now, as the case may be, Ganduje, for me, has been playing the same type of politics that the president, who is still a member of APC and a leader of APC, played during the electoral, period or election period in River State. Where he accepted or maybe met a faction, voted order for them to operate. And they are boasting today that they have won the election. Now, secondly or thirdly, to tell you that or to reinforce what I am trying to say is that at the tribunal, the election petitions tribunal in River State, APC withdrew from his for that particular suit,
National.
leaving his candidate.
That's the national.
No, yes, they withdrew. They said they are not interested in following a Toye code to court. You understand? Even though I know that under the act, the party can, bring a suit. The candidate also can bring a suit. If he wants to contest electoral, defeat it is as the case may be. You see, they withdrew, leaving, the young man home and dry, whatever as they used to say, the word, as they say. So this has become, the problem with APC. It is more or less internecine. Just like the olden days when you have tribal wars. You don't know the causes of the tribal wars. People just go there, maim, kill, rape, and do whatever they want to do and go back. And at the end of the day, you ask them, why were you fighting the other man, your neighbor? They say, we don't know. Maybe the boundary here will affect you. It's that kind of thing. So it's become obvious. Now, for me, the faction of Tony Okocha is like winning the battle. Because the other faction led by former Minister of Transportation or whatever has gone into oblivion. It's more or less like a ragtag army, running up and down without leadership and is rudderless as the case may be now. So Tony Cole is trying to come back to see if he can wear that toga or garb of, the minister, that is Chibukero Timi Amechi, to lead this particular APC, dismembered, area now, to see if they can seek for or get national prominence. And mind you, why all these things are going on is because of the fact that they are struggling and angling to see how one or two of their, cartel or members can be appointed minister or SA or board of directors of one of the companies. Because it behoves to say, except I am corrected, that the slot that was given to River State Ministerial was taken over by a non-APC man. Even though he walked, daggers in cloaks, with APC and PDP, we knew where he belonged. So that is, for me, I don't know how they're going to do that. So they are working now to see if they can get board membership for their various factions. So what they need to do finally is this. If Ganduje is not playing that old politics Tinubu played, why contest the election in River State? He has to tell the two factions to go back and reconcile, set up a mechanism within the party to come to River State, resolve the issues before them, and take a decision and know who to recognize between the two of these factions. That is my take on that particular one.
Absolutely summarized there, but there are some underlying factors that
Yes.
I quickly look at. Number one is the conferment of political infantry on the person of the FCT minister, Yesobike.
Yes.
Now, that statement was made because you made a statement during the elections. Everybody knew where Tinubu's allegiance.
Absolutely, yes.
They enthroned Tony Okocha in the state to become, because everybody saw that. The Tony Okocha power now in APC and all of that. We saw when Tinubu's camp did all of that, their visit to the state and all of that. So white blames are going on the minister for, former minister Rotimi Amechi for making some statements. A lot of people have also failed to see that Tinubu had already divided them by choosing a set in the APs. That was after this the choice of Tony Okocha.
Yes.
That was when the minister made the bold statement that he's been alleged that he has made. So leave that on one side. Now come back to after election, Ganduje has been elected the national chairman. They came before you, the Toyeko camp came before you, making certain statements that we are recognized by law as the APC.
Yes.
You made appointments. We're not anywhere, not in agency appointments, not ministers, nothing came to us. That is on one side. And then Toyeko, he left, he basically said, oh, we'll do something about that. We've not heard anything. Now, Tony Okocha have gone. And before you made a statement back to where I was, Wike is the political infantry in Rivers State. And now you acknowledged that statement by saying that he who worked and won election, we call the person a miracle worker. If there's a miracle worker, there's a Messiah.
Absolutely.
Good. Now, if you put all of this side by side, and going back to my first question, that Ganduje hasn't even done anything. You're talking about setting up a mediation. Nothing has been seen to be done by all of that. Is it safe to say that by these postulations, that these people have taken a side, and that the Toyeko camp should do what that works for them? And you remember you also said that they pulled out from the tribunal.
Yes.
So these are like three critical signs that says this guy. So is it safe to say that the Toyeko camp need to do the needful and do what works for them?
I don't really know what the Toyeko camp will do now, because already they have been overrun.
Okay.
And when you have been overrun by an armada of salamander, then you are going to have some problems. Instead that you go back, to kind of, recoup, to come back and, kind of prepare to take over. Otherwise, it will become a problem for you to do. There is no gainsaying or pretending to say that the Ganduje of the APC chairman, is supporting the Tony Okocha, the Toyeko's side of APC. It is very clear that the side that he is supporting as at today, this morning, as he woke up this morning, is the Tony Okocha's, side of the divide, by virtue of the activities. For instance, was it not befondling? Was it not, monarchically bewildering for you to say that each state should produce a minister and nominations for me? And you, as the president, your party APC, in Rivers State, instead of you sending such, letters to your party secretariat or your party leadership in Rivers State here, you went outside the party to go and choose, somebody who is not even, a card-carrying member of your party representing the state, as the case may be. So if, for instance, we were talking about, APC were to be in order, or maybe Tinubu and the hierarchy were not working for the Okocha group, as the case may be, that wouldn't have happened. Toyeko was sidelined. And if you look at Tony Okocha, he has been so boisterous. On television, on radio, he's looking very healthy, he's looking very robust in terms of activism, as the case may be. Whereas the other man, Toyeko faction, I don't even know who their leader is. I don't even know where the secretariat is, as the case may be. They are so shy of the media. There is no spokesperson for them. They walk around like the orphan, as if they live in the orphanage. They don't really have that, sentimental attachment to parenthood, as the case may be. So they are feeling so, lugubrious, and they feel so. I don't know. In fact, I don't want to use some uncharitable words to, describe the way they look right now. If I were to advise them, I would just tell them, to do what now? Just find other parties and go and belong. Or you just remain and go back, maybe go to Lagos State to go and join your fellow APC there to practice APCism and whatever the case may be. Do you remember that in one interview that was granted by the then Excellency of Rivers State, yes, Wike, who is now the Minister of FCT, he said that APC is no longer in Rivers State. One, that he has taken about 80% of APC, which is true. Then Madusabe now took about 15%. That what is now left for Toyeko to win election in Rivers State, and that came to pass. Look at the spokesperson of APC, decamped in our very eyes here. He decamped, to the PDP, and he was accepted, given a ministerial, a commissionership appointment, as the case may be. From that onwards, all that, APC, big guns started defecting, decamping, to PDP. As my friends say, they signed for PDP, as if they are players in a club. As case may be. So this was not, abated, and you want to tell me that at this point in time that Ganduje will work for you when you have not shown seriousness in terms of whatever. And mind you, and lastly, there is an allegation on air that the APC in Rivers State worked for a particular candidate against their own, a candidate in Rivers State. But they deny it. Some of my friends who are members of APC secretly voted for that particular candidate. But they come out and say a different thing, as the case may be. So this is time. I don't know how they're going to repair their house. So they are the mercy of Ganduje and the National APC. Otherwise, they will go into oblivion finally.
And we wish them the very best.
I wish them the best.
Absolutely. But now, let us get into Bayelsa State. But before then, now, if you need to run and know it's open conversation and you have somewhere to be, not to worry, we've got you covered. All you need to do is log on to our Facebook or YouTube page. You can watch us on the go, that's Atlantic Television Network, or you can watch straight from our website, atlantictelevisionnetwork.tv, or you can do well to download our app from the App Store, and that's ATN Live, and watch us on the go 247 or wherever you may be. Do well to share with others, but we'll get back to the conversation that is open right now. So we'll get into Bayelsa State, everyone. A coalition of pro-democracy organizations in Nigeria vehemently rejects the proposal made by the Independent National Electoral Commission to transmit results in the forthcoming Bayelsa State governorship elections manually. In a meeting in Abuja on Thursday, the coalition represented by the Campaign for Democracy and the Niger Delta Democratic Vanguard said, "We believe the integrity and credibility of any election depend on the transparency of the electoral process, including the accurate and timely transmission of results. Electronic transmission of results is a vital component of ensuring the authenticity and fairness of elections, and its abandonment would undermine the trust of the electorate, Nigerians, and the international community in the electoral process. The use of technology in the transmission of election results has proven to be a valuable tool in reducing electoral fraud, promoting accountability, and delivering more accurate and timely results to the public. It enhances the transparency of the electoral process and minimizes the potential for manipulation or tampering with results at various stages. We urge the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to reconsider its proposal and uphold the principles of transparency and accountability in the Bayelsa State governorship election." The group said, "We call on INEC to ensure that the electronic transmission of results is not only maintained, but also improved upon to guarantee the credibility of the electoral process. As critical stakeholders in Nigerian project," they said, "we are committed to monitoring the upcoming Bayelsa State governorship election closely, and will continue to advocate for transparency, fairness, and the highest standards of integrity in the electoral process. International community to join us in safeguarding the integrity of this critical election. Finally, we urge the people of Bayelsa State to arise and safeguard democracy and avoid the rape of our democracy." The last call, Bayelsans, how do you mean? But let's look at it from this angle. So when I saw that news from Obo Efanga yesterday saying that they are going to transmit Bayelsa, I don't know if it's the general, but the 3 states are just Bayelsa, manually. In my head, I'm like, well, are we going back to incidence form? Are we going back to ballot box snatching? Because against all the odds of the 2023 general elections, one thing we can say for a fact is that ballot box snatching was not, if it was there, it was just about maybe 1 or 2% on the average. So are we going back there? What exactly? And this state is one of the volatile states, politically speaking. So why is INEC doing it? Well, this group have rejected that and say everybody should rise up against it. I'd like to bring you in here.
All right, thank you. You see, for me, INEC should not have any problem conducting an election in Bayelsa State. Bayelsa is just about, I don't know if they are up to 5 million as a whole, because it's one of the smallest states in Nigeria. So, I don't know why you should have problems in conducting an election in a small state like Bayelsa. If you had problems in a country like Nigeria of 200-something million people, I can understand. But when it comes to a small entity, when it comes to a small state like Bayelsa, not up to 5 million people, and out of the 5 million people or thereabout, I am not sure that up to 1 million people are going to vote or are registered to vote, as the case may be. So why can't you conduct an election in accordance with the Act and your guidelines? Now, for the group to say they want to force INEC, not to use manual, election, a method to conduct this election, I don't think is far-reaching. I don't think is something within their contemplation. They say they don't want any election to take place in their place, because the courts have constantly said that INEC determines the mode and manner they are going to use to conduct their elections. Now, section 47 sub 3, even allude to that particular fact, only giving a window that where some of these BVAS etc does not work in a polling unit, and you change to another technological contraption, and it still does not work, INEC has the powers, to reschedule the election with 24 hours etc as the case may be. So, assuming INEC says that all their electronic materials are non-functional, does that mean that they are going to invoke section 47 sub 3 of the Electoral Act to now say that since it has become impossible for us to do, and you have said we have to do this manually, we cannot do this manually except electronically, then we will suspend or postpone the election in Bayelsa State until we're able to, conduct, elections that results, will be transmitted, electronically, as the case may be. Only in section 38 of the guidelines of election, that is, I think 38AC, that is where it is mandatory and stated that INEC, after collation of results, they have to, transmit electronically, to their whatever data, whatever, and to the IRF, as the case may be. But from what we have seen, it's like the act is trying to overshadow, the non-mandatory, that INEC must, transmit their results, electronically. Because parties were insisting on that, section 38, 1A to C of the guidelines attached to the act. That is where electronic transmission of results were made mandatory. That after collation etc, you must transmit this result guidelines that they made. But INEC was not coming to rely on section 47 sub 3, section 70, section 73 etc, and some other sections, in the Electoral Act that gives them this leeway for them to operate. That where it becomes impossible, where it becomes glaring, that they cannot begin, to conduct the election in an electronic manner, then they have to resort to manual, use of, their tools, to conduct the election. So, but if the two parties, when INEC is either able to put his house together in terms of making sure that they transmit the results or conduct the election in accordance with their guideline, or the people will allow INEC to do it, manually. That has to be between these people. Two, I am saying, and finally, that the particular group called the Civil Society Organization in Bayelsa cannot on their own resort to what I call self-help. They have to get an order of court, like happened in Lagos State. You can't sit, in a conurbation, where you think you act like militants and everybody say elections will not be conducted by INEC by word of mouth. The only way you can stop INEC from doing that is for you to approach the courts. You understand? To mandate and compel, INEC, using the word compellation means open and close. If you can compel INEC, to do what now? Conduct the election the way and manner you want them, to conduct it. But sitting down there and issuing memos, etc., to say you can.
An effort in futility. Mr. Ekedife said Governor Uzodinma would have a landslide victory in the November 2023 election to prove cynics wrong, who he said had failed to appreciate quality democracy dividends in Imo people and had continued to enjoy since the inception of his administration. He said if you critically evaluate what he has done, you will see that there will be no reason the people of Imo State would not give him a resounding victory to do his second tenure. Every election has its own bearing. The people of Imo State are going to evaluate, scrutinize the candidate presented to them, and all the police. The people are better off with the party and Governor Uzodinma at helm of affairs. Governor Uzodinma, no doubt, could be adjudged the best in service delivery in Imo State. Apart from late former Governor Simon Bakwe of blessed memory, Uzodinma is living up to the people's expectations. For instance, Ekedife said the road he built from Owerri to Olu with street light is unprecedented. He has also built one from Owerri to Okigwe. This road, according to people from that side, was a track record before it was constructed before an expressway. A friend of mine said he was very surprised when he passed through the road. There is another one from Mbise to Umuahia, and so many other express as well as access roads in the state. He is pulling the federal government to Imo State, which is now dredging Orasi River into sea. According to Ekedife, the dredging of the Orasi River into the sea is to enable the state to evacuate its enormous gas deposits to earn a lot of money. Imo is not only oil, but as also gas-producing state, and a member of Niger Delta Development Commission, the governor, is utilizing the proceeds accrued to it to develop Imo. I talked about roads because those are what people see and remember. People don't see the energy the governor puts into governance. People don't see the amount of money he invests into education. People don't see the resources he is investing into youth of the state in empowering them and taking care of the pensioners. That's why we talk about what can be easily remembered. The issue of security, talks about how he conducted a security summit and all of that. But in this long piece, the Secretary of Organizing, Secretary of all Progressives in the Southeast, there's Ekedife Jr. In all of this, I was expecting him to also realize that Hope Uzodinma was not a governor before he came into power, and if indeed he achieved all of this, why does it feel like other people cannot come in as a first-time governor and achieve all of this? But put all that on one side and bring to the fore the candidates before. Now you have Achonu and several other persons. You have Chris Anyanwu of the PDP. If you put these people side by, and of course there's also Duns of the SDP and all of that. If you put all of these people side, these are like technocrats in their own right, politicians, if you may. Now, don't phrase it. He hosted that 4,000 Imo youth will be sent to Canada or Europe for job to go work in those areas. What is it about Uzodinma that is so classy, that is so outstanding, that will make Ekedife outrule other people? Is this just about APC or is this about the welfare of Imo people?
Well, thank you very much. It's about, it's not about APC, it's about the welfare of Imo people. And why I will not even waste much of my energies on that is because it's an opinion, by, a pseudonym for, what's the governor's name? The governor, Hope Uzodinma. So he's a chronic supporter, of the governor. So he can't say, more than he has said. And during campaigns in Nigeria, that is where you see, men in cassock, will begin to emerge from different angles, trying to preach and say things about who the new Baptists will become, as the case may be. You see, monks leaving their monasteries to come and preach, for somebody and say this is the best person, as the case may be. From what I have found out is this: if you capture the mood of the people from Imo State, if I follow what social media and the rest people on the news media are talking about, then Imo State is in a very dire state or dire straits, as the case may be. From what I read or from what I see on social media, you understand that insecurity has ravaged Imo State. Most of the videos we watch, on social media, where you see some marksmen, armed, butchering people, and I don't know, they say they come from Imo State. And that the other, I just heard one the other day who was saying that, calling the governor's name directly, that they are going to do this or do that, So this thing became so scary. Now, jobs, according to those who are from there, are lacking. So if the general mood or the people on social media, etc., as the case may be, if it's to be taken, it means that the present administration need to do a lot, if you want to come back for second tenure, by this election being conducted by INEC. I believe they can achieve it if the Imo people say, you have done well for us, so you deserve a second, tenure. Otherwise, people like Sam Daddy, there's a young man we call Sam Daddy, I think he's in the race, and people like that, we know they can do. I will not say whether I will do better than Opus Odima, because I have not really truly assessed Opus Odima's administration, being on ground in Imo State, to know whether he has done well or not. So, but I know if given that, chance to do that. So that is my take on this particular Imo State matter. I'm not from that state, but I believe that it's a state I love so much. I always visit that state whenever I want to enjoy my life.
If you say so,
yes.
Constitution man. We'll take a short break, everyone. When we come back, we'll have more story coming to you from the northern part of the country, and of course, the big
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of Justice.
What about access to our money we put in the bank?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth: the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which I am.
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the taunting. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Welcome back to ATN Open Conversation, everyone. Now we're getting into the second part of the show today. We have the Constitution man on this set with us. Now let's get into Kaduna State. Partnership for Issues-Based Campaign in Nigeria advocates for a total overhaul of Nigeria's electoral and judicial system to salvage the situation, stressing that some of the recent tribunal judgments across the country have exposed the disturbing reality and the need for a total overhaul of electoral and judicial system to salvage it, noting that Nigeria needs to bring to an end the era of judiciary using technicalities to subvert the popular and free will of the people. As part of measures to salvage the electoral process, we can call for the full adoption of the Justice Mohammed Wise Electoral Reform Committee report, which recommended pathways that, if implemented, will improve the entire electoral system with emphasis on strengthening the legal frameworks and enhancing the independence of the electoral body, and also emphasize the need to close the gaps by amending Section 64, subsection 4.5 of the Electoral Act 2022 as amended on the transmission of the data of accreditation recorded votes and results of the election recorded, adding that there is an urgent need for an amendment to mandate INEC to transmit results electronically from polling units in a timely manner that improves the credibility of the polls and collation of results. We can furthermore call on the security agencies who have arrested citizens in Kano State to please understand the protest is another. Prioritize investigating those wrongly arrested to be set free and restore the confidence of the people in democracy, while security situations of states should investigate and bring the perpetrators of the fraud that was highlighted in the judgment on stamped and unsigned ballot papers. Okay, I'm coming to you right now. The need to be in this time.
Should be very crucial, and that is what, should come about right now. The brought up a body, to really look at, our electoral reforms, to implement, like some people have been, clamoring. That is the Justice Mohammed who ways, reform the commission they set up. We need to reform and kind of tinker with this electoral act with a commission. If he does not want to follow the Waste Commission, set up another commission, as the case may be, to really look at it, our electoral, reforms, like the European observer missions, recommended, for INEC. There are so many things we need to do. For instance, the Section 138 of the Electoral Act has to be expunged completely. That talks about, when, for instance, you are office, you are not bound to return the monies that you embezzled while you were in office for that 3 months or 4 months before the Supreme Court or whatever remove you. That is very bad. That kind of gives the holder of that office, the right. That is why you see the struggle to make sure that once elections are concluded, immediately they are sworn in. They now say immunity covers them. They know that Section 138 will guide them, from doing all these things. So they quickly make sure that they fight their way to be sworn in, even though there were malpractices and irregularities that were before that particular election. So that we can also come back, with the Constitution and the Electoral Act to now tinker, even as it is, with Section 285 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that talks about tribunals after election and the time limit within which they should be disposed of. Cases involving election petitions should be disposed of. I think that Section 285, what should be done is that the National Assembly can amend it, to include that, for instance, yes, you can set up tribunals that we look at election petitions, etc., as the case may be, but these tribunals have to conclude or start and conclude their work before the swearing in of a particular candidate, be you a governor, be you House of Reps, be you of Senate, be you President, that until and unless that particular matter is exhausted, to Supreme Court level or otherwise, that you cannot be sworn in. You understand? This will now make a level playing field for people and candidates who are going together, because it becomes unfair when, for instance, I contest an election with you and I feel that there were malpractices that brought you into power. I'm shouting, I've gone to, exercise my right to the tribunal, but while I'm doing that, you have been sworn in, and you now become an overlord over me, and immunity covers me, as the case may be. So, an influence, say, I'm not going to search this box because I believe that